Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. Some guy reached out to me who's my biological dad and I'm 20M, freaking out. My parents are still married BTW, so that's why it's got me more freaked out. I didn't believe this guy at first when he said he might be my biological dad because he just randomly messaged me on Facebook, but he was telling me he knew my mom cause they went to school together and even mentioned her high school. And then when I mentioned his name to my mom, she started crying. She swore he's making up for me being his because they only kissed once, but she begged me not to tell dad. That got me more suspicious and I heard the guy out. He told me they met up once and then a few months later he found out she was married and pregnant. She told him he wasn't the father because according to her she already knew she was pregnant when she cheated on my dad. But he says he was always suspicious. And he decided to get some pie to find me once he knew I was a legal adult, so my mom can't say anything or keep me from him. Then just when he finally saw me and seen all our similarities, he knew he could be my dad. I didn't want to see it in the beginning, but yeah, there's lots of similarities and I hate it. We went to a lab to do a paternity test. And I got the results a couple days ago. I'm his son. You have no idea how much that ducked me up. I threw up and then I cried for like an hour. Now I gave the proof to my mom. And again she puts on the show of her being in tears. She knows she caught it. I told her to tell me everything, but I didn't say that I talked to him about it just because I want to see if what she says lines up with his version of stuff. And looks like it is. She lied to them both. My dad doesn't know I'm not his. And the guy didn't find out about her being married until after, when she lied to him about my dad being the one who got her pregnant. And she's being so ducked up about it. When we talked I gave her that line, either you tell him or I will, and she told me then guess it's gonna have to be you because I'm not going to break his heart. For the first time in my life I called her a ducking selfish bitch. Now it's on me, but it's hitting me now that I don't know if I can do it. This whole thing kept me up for days. I haven't gone to visit my parents because I am not sure if I could look at my dad's face with this lie still going. But it feels like once it's out there I'm gonna lose him. Haven't stopped crying since then. I have this guy, bio dad, telling me he's so sorry and letting him know if I need something. It's too confusing. What should I do? I think the non-bio dad deserves to know the truth. Even if it hurts. Duck your mom. She's responsible for deceiving 3 people and taking this away from them for 20 years. She deserves whatever will come out of this. The guy could have petitioned the court for a paternity test. He found out while she was pregnant. He likely didn't think that was an option. Especially if she was already married. It wouldn't have mattered if he was the biological father or not, since the husband is automatically listed as the father. Not as simple as others think. Depends on where you are. I don't understand why people make these assertions when we have no idea where the involved parties are located. Well, the other person asserted the contrary, so. Your point? In a comment Op mentioned his biological father wouldn't have had legal standing or something like that since his parents were already married, so I'm going based on that. That comment was flat out wrong. If a DNA test proves beyond 99.99% that someone is the bio dad, that person can lawyer up and claim his parental rights. The name on the BC or the marriage status doesn't change any of this. Considering they moved before Op was born and he didn't know where they were, it would have been hard to try to ask for a DNA test. If he even knew of his rights back then. Also depends on where, not every place is the same. Op said his family moved 10 hours away before he was born. If it took his biological father a pie to be able to find him, how was he supposed to have gone to court when he didn't even know where they were? I totally agree. I would fight to know the truth. Hey. That's how this all started. No more ducking his mom. You evil person. Take my award and upvote. You took the words right out of my mouth. That, or someone already has. The man who raised you is your dad, even though it isn't biologically. I hurt for what you're going through. I would try to tell him in a safe place, just you both. Don't let your mom's theatrics take away from what you want to say, that you love him, and you're sorry to be the one to tell him, and you still want and need him in your life, and that you don't plan on having contact with your mom, assuming all that's true, of course. And good luck, this will be the most difficult thing you've done most likely. Your mom is hoping you won't tell him, that's why she's goading you with go ahead and break his heart, trying to make you the bad guy when she's the one who screwed up. Thanks, I'm gonna make sure he knows no matter what I love him, but I'm so scared. It's gonna be hard. Also can't believe how ducked up she is. I've never seen this side of her. It just breaks me up. Update, some guy reached out to me who's my biological dad and I'm 20M, freaking out. Original post here. Well, I told my dad. Next morning after I made this post, I was done giving my mom a chance to do the right thing. If she wanted me to do it, well, I was gonna. My dad was crushed. He didn't believe it until I showed him the DNA test I took with my biological dad that proved I'm his son. There was yelling from my dad, my mom with her fake-ass crocodile tears trying to play it off that she didn't know my dad wasn't my biological father. I told him everything that she even tried to shut me down, then left it to me to say something. My dad left the house. I gave him space for like 2 weeks. First time we talked, he says he's divorcing my mom, but he can't have anything to do with a kid that's not his. He's been played like a fool all my life, and he's not gonna keep being a fool pretending to be a dad to some random kid that's stung. Really bad. I wanted to cry, but I didn't want to give hope, thought it probably just happened and he was still hurting. It's been a few months already though, and he still acts cold with me. Twice I reached out. He told me I'm nothing to him anymore, so just leave it. Got stuck with a kid for over 20 years now, he's free to do whatever he wants. All this stuff he said to me, someone who didn't have control over what happened. The second time we talked was last week. Again he told me to leave him alone cause he's done. He's not my dad, he never was and accepts that. And you know what? I said fine, sorry to bother him, but don't ever come back even if he changes his mind. And then I hung up. My dad doesn't want anything to do with me. My mom is the cheating bitch that started all this, so I'm done with her too. The only person who's been there for me is my biological dad and my mom's family. No one in my dad's family, not even my grandparents, will talk. It sounds like a shit show and sad, yeah, but I've learned to accept it. All this time me and my bio dad have been getting to know each other. Every night for the last month we have dinner together and talk about life. He has been the most supportive, he's paying for me to do therapy so I can talk about everything with someone. He was just a really good guy. I'm happy to be getting to know him, and at least not everything that came out from this was bad. Haven't worked up to calling him dad yet, but we're getting there. I'm sorry what happened years ago is costing you so much blame and distress. None of that was your fault. I think you will be okay. Hang in there. I know I will eventually. As for now, I'm trying not to let it get to me. There's people in my life who still love me and have my biological dad wanting to be supportive and a figure in my life. It's something that I'm grateful for. I have to say this to you. You DID. Nothing wrong. You are literally the most blameless person here. Time will help you. Any great tragedy, and this is a great tragedy, requires time. So give yourself time and space to grieve the loss of your family, and keep at it. You'll get there. Please consider starting therapy. This is a lot to process. It can potentially help nip things in the bud that can unknowingly affect you in your future relationships as well. Luckily my bio dad is paying for me to see a therapist. Been doing weekly sessions for a month now. It's helping to have someone to let it out with. Dude, that's awesome. Sounds like your bio dad is a decent human being at least. Hi Op, sorry this is happening to you. I'm sure this is overwhelming and I say this in a nice way. You can start calling your bio dad, just your dad. It sounds like you have an awesome, supportive dad that you really need right now, and I hope your relationship with him continues to deepen. Edit, whoops, just saw the last part of your post. My bad. I don't speak from experience here but understand that it takes time to work up to that. We're working on that. Also it's not so confusing to everyone here if I keep calling them both dad. He's a really decent guy though, super wise. When he says stuff when I'm down it actually comforts me. I can see he's trying to be good but not push us to be all father-son. I like him a lot so after some time don't think it'll be hard to start calling him dad. I'm starting to see him that way already. That's awesome. Sounds like you traded up actually. I know it's hard though. Good, takes things at your pace. There's no need to rush to calling him dad, or any requirement to ever call him that. Do what works best for you, and work with your therapist as you start to process your feelings and decide what to call him moving forward. Op, your non-bio dad is obviously emotionally destroyed. Too bad he is treating you this way. Hopefully he will find a way to forgive himself for the way he has treated you. Thankfully your dad is stepping up to the plate and giving you direction. All the best and keep up to date. I'm so sorry your dad, stepdad, is treating you this way. I'm sure he is in pain, but none of this situation is your fault. Kids get caught in the crossfire of adult problems way too much. He told me not to call him dad anymore because he isn't, and wasn't gonna use it here in the post but to make it less confusing to everyone reading. I guess stepdad would be more fitting. I'm so sorry this happened to you but you're not alone. My mom cheated on my dad and never told me he wasn't my biological father and my mom didn't break the news to me. My mom left my adoptive dad, my brother and me behind to be with someone else. My adoptive dad ended up taking full custody of my brother and me and wrote his name on my birth certificate. I wasn't informed of the DNA thing until I was 10 years old by my adoptive dad and it hurt so much but he didn't leave me or want to give me up. I don't get along with my mom and my bio dad is dead so I never met him. Main lesson I learned was whoever wants to be in your life will be in it because they love you and care about you. Your old dad is an asshole and I feel bad for him for not being able to see what a wonderful person you are. Continue healing and talking with whoever supports you and loves you. Thank you for finally saying it. That ducking piece of shit is literally going to deny the son he raised because they aren't blood. I get divorced from the mother and the anger, but don't direct it toward your child. People are ducking scum involving kids in things like this. This is what blew my mind. I'm sure it's devastating to find out it's not your kid but how the duck does that erase 20 years of a bond with them. 20 years and one DNA test erases all of that. Damn. If I was to find out that my teenager wasn't biologically mine, it wouldn't make him no longer my kid. In that hypothetical, I've had far more influence on who he is than the sperm donor has. I can't imagine turning on him. Op, I'm glad that you got a new dad. I hope that someday your old one realizes what a dumbass he is being. Yep, I can imagine the dude is angry, but turning off 20 years of love for someone like that is something I will never understand. The part that blows my mind is the sheer number of people defending his non-bio dad's behavior. And demanding empathy from Op where he got absolutely none of it from him. At first, I felt bad for my adoptive dad, thinking maybe I wouldn't have told him in order to spare him pain. Then I read about his reaction. Now I just say, duck him. Honestly, I could understand if the kid was a year old or something when the horned man found out about the infidelity. Hell, in that kind of situation, I'd nope out immediately. But after 20 years, especially if the kid was the one to uncover it, nah man, I'd probably become friends with the biological father and all three of us would be shitting on the cheating bitch. I know it's awful. I can understand being devastated and angry and upset, and all of the things that would come with news like that. But he raised this kid. Blood aside, he's his. He's a scumbag. It would be like adopting a puppy, keeping it for 10 years in a loving home, then one day just kicking it out on the street. Unfortunately, nothing good ever comes from paternity fraud. There should be a law against this. People are ducking scum involving kids in things like this. That's the whole point. The mother chose to involve a kid into her affair. Sounds like the mother and the anti-dad deserved each other. The anti-dad, yeah, that's a good term for him. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are.